Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kristen with Monarch Plans, and today I am going to be going through my budget by paycheck setup for my paycheck that will be happening on July 30th, which will be paying bills at the beginning of August. So I am essentially going to be showing from now on my channel, kind of alternating between showing how I'm doing my paycheck bill tracker page from the Budget by Paycheck workbook, and then also how I'm tracking kind of my overall finances in my budget planner. So every other week or so we'll be kind of alternating between those things, and hopefully it'll give a good overview of how I kind of track my finances. But mainly the paycheck bill tracker will be showing you kind of how I use this tool and how I go about planning out how I'm going to use my paycheck for the upcoming couple weeks at least. So that is one thing to keep in mind. I know previously I pretty much just would do my planning in my budget planner and kind of do my check-ins and everything like that. I think this is a little bit more helpful just because it shows you exactly how I'm actually budgeting out my my money that I get. And also, one big development is that we actually just signed a contract today to start construction on a new house. So we have about 8 months, or the time of construction, to save as much money as possible. We already have some money saved, but we have essentially 8 months to save up money to move into our home, to pay towards the down payment, because when you're building a new house, the down payment comes closer to closing, which is after your house is constructed. So we know for the next 8 months, our main focus is to be saving money, saving essentially as much money as possible. So I think it'll be helpful to show you all kind of what our budget will be looking like. It will be pared down a lot, really focused, and we will be putting as much towards savings as possible. We know things may change, so I'll update you guys if anything does change in regards to our house, but at this point, that is what our goal is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started. As I mentioned, the paycheck is on the 30th of July, and I will be budgeting through August 12th because my next paycheck is on August 13th. So that is kind of how I'm doing things. So even if my paycheck is from July, it is still being budgeted to August. So there's a little bit of overlap there, but instead of doing, instead of just doing like a month, I will be tracking instead, kind of realistically, my money from the 30th will be paying for my August stuff. My money from the 13th will be paying for these next 2 weeks. And then my money from the 27th, this is my payday in August, will be paying for a lot of September. So I'm trying to do it a little bit more realistically in terms of what my money from my paydays will actually be paying for. On this side, I have my August calendar that lays out all my bills. It lays out my paydays. These ones on Monday are from Etsy. These ones over here are from our full-time jobs. Mine are on Thursday and my fiance's are on Fridays. I have highlighted here move money because what I try to do in our checking accounts is keep a buffer. I try and keep $1,500 in my checking account at all times. So the night before I get paid or the night before my fiance gets paid, I will go in and anything above $1,500 that is remaining from our prior paycheck, I move over to savings. Then we get paid the next day and we'll spend that paycheck down. Anything the next week that is over $1,500, I'll move it over to savings. So it just kind of helps me in terms of having like a zero-based budget, but my zero is technically $1,500 just to give us a buffer. So I don't know if that will really come up in terms of in here, but that is just something that I do. If it might be helpful for you, go ahead and take that idea, but it's definitely helpful for us. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to detail out my income in terms of line by line. I'll write that in later, but I am budgeting conservatively about $2,420 for this upcoming like 2-week period. And for our bills, we only have a couple bills due at the beginning of the month. So I will only have a few here. And sorry, just writing these down really quickly. We only have a few at the beginning of the month. And so we'll pay these, and then at the beginning of the month is probably when we'll be able to put the most money into savings. So keep that in mind. Not every single paycheck we are going to be putting as much away. I already did some calculations for this, so I'm not sitting here with a calculator for, you know, a majority of this video. And we are able to put away quite a bit this paycheck. So we're budgeting about $100 for our internet. My car payment is $492.51. I contribute $100 towards retirement, and Netflix is $14.10. So actually all of these are going to be exact. These are going to be the actuals. These are all fixed expenses for us, but I will wait to put in the actual column. But I did total up those bills. That is $706.39. And with this workbook and with this page specifically, the budget mom makes it very, very easy to calculate out kind of what is left over as you go into these different buckets. So your income total minus your bill total will give you your leftover money. I have $1,713.61 left over from paying just my like actual bills. So these are actual bills. They're not really variable expenses like groceries or gas or anything like that. These are my like immediate living expenses and obligations. Down here, you then bring down your leftover from above, $1,713.61. This is where it's for envelopes. I don't use cash envelopes. I find that it's actually really difficult to use cash. I know that might just be my opinion, but I tend to just separate my money in my checking account into these categories, and that works fine for me. So groceries, gas, cat, dog expenses. That's just like cat and dog food or litter, anything like that. Allowance, we're definitely cutting down on our allowances, dining out, and cutting down on dining out and coffee, which you all know that that is a struggle for us, but that has to happen if we want to save up for our house and all the nice fun stuff to put in it. And then I also put in this category our sinking fund, anything we spend our sinking funds on. So like if I buy clothes, if I buy like beauty stuff like makeup, if I have to buy something for our car, it'll be listed here. And then I have a line for unbudgeted. So let me go through this really quickly. I'm budgeting about $250 for groceries, $100 for gas, even though I definitely don't think we'll be spending $100 on gas. $25 for animals, $50 for allowance, $50 for dining out, $20 for coffee, and I'm assuming $0 for beauty. I don't think we're gonna need anything in the upcoming couple weeks. In terms of sinking fund expenses, I'm not gonna budget anything for that because they're often a little difficult to budget for ahead of time. You know, a lot of times that's just something that I know is saved, so I don't necessarily plan them out unless I absolutely know something is coming up that requires a sinking fund, like Christmas or a very specific like annual membership renewal or something like that, or like our car registrations. None of that is coming up, so I'm not going to put anything there. In terms of unbudgeted, we're obviously not budgeting anything. So I added these up as well. This is just $495 for the month. And if you subtract $495 from the $1,713.61, you get $1,218.61. That amount then flows over to my sinking funds. So as you can see, I paid my like immediate obligations here. I would also put credit cards here, but I don't have any of them due in this first part of the month. So I would go through and pay my immediate obligations. Leftover money flows to more variable expenses. They're still living expenses technically, but also including, you know, kind of more frivolous things. And then from there, I can take my money, my $1,218.61, and contribute it to some sinking funds. So I have my YNAB subscription, I have my car registration that I save up for, 2 different car registrations. We have 2 cars. I'm putting into an auto maintenance category, a home maintenance category, and a self-care and beauty. So that's like if I need new makeup, if I need to get my hair done, anything like that. And then finally, we had a sinking fund for Christmas. It was just specifically labeled for Christmas, money to buy gifts. I am actually going to transition that into a fund for appliances. We will need to buy a refrigerator and a washer dryer for our new house. So I think that we are very comfortable not buying gifts for each other this year and putting all of our money that we've saved for Christmas so far into our appliances, and then saving up additional money throughout the next 8 months. So in these categories, for YNAB, I save $6.55 a month, $6.55. I save $28.30 a month. I save $20 towards our Fusion, $20 towards auto maintenance, $20 towards home maintenance, $50 towards appliances. Sorry, I did that out of order. And then $10 towards self-care and beauty. So on this sheet, I don't have the totals of what my sinking funds currently have, the balances in them. That will be in my video next week when I am tracking in my actual budget planner. So this is just showing what money I'm adding to my sinking funds for this 2-week period, not showing the current balances I have in my sinking funds. So I summed those up. That is $154.85. So if you take $1,218.61 and you subtract out $154, you get $1,063.76. In terms of extra debt, we currently have a USAA credit card that has a balance and a Chase card that has a balance. And with the $1,063.76, I'm not currently going to pay any extra to those. I might with one of our future checks in terms of my check that comes in on August 13th, but at this point, I'm not going to pay any extra. So extra debt total is 0. Leftover is $1,063.76. And then extra savings, I'm going to put here Kristen savings. It's just like a savings account I have. Leftover is $1,063.76. And I will be adding all of that to my savings account because I do a zero-based budget. So I just make sure I'm budgeting all of my money for all the money I receive, and gets me to 0 at the end. So that's just kind of how I do it. If I have anything left over, I'll just throw it into savings, but essentially anything left over after I pay my immediate obligations, pay my kind of like variable expenses, contribute to my sinking funds, will either go to extra debt or extra savings until I have a balance of 0 at the very end. So that is just how I do it. So at this point, I am estimating that we'll be able to save about $1,000 for this paycheck. Like I mentioned, we didn't have a lot of expenses this month, or at least this part of the month. So that is why we are able to save a lot. I also am deferring my student loan payment through September because those have 0% interest. The payments aren't due. So I am putting that money away too. So that is also a contributing factor to the savings we're able to put away for this paycheck. So what I will do is I will keep track throughout the first part of the month when I'm paying my bills. I will keep track of the actual amounts that we do pay, the actual amounts for these categories, and essentially I will just fill out the actual column, and we will see how we end up at the end of this period, and then go from there into budgeting my next paycheck. So this is kind of my process I do every time I'm budgeting out a paycheck. So I, again, will be showing this again in a couple weeks so you can see kind of a full cycle in terms of what my next paycheck looks like. And then I'll also show again myself budgeting for my paycheck on August 27th. So it just kind of gives you a good idea of what process I use. So hopefully that was helpful. If anyone has any questions about my process or about kind of this tool, the Budget by Paycheck workbook, or anything from the Budget Mom, let me know. I will link to the Budget Mom website in case you were interested in grabbing the downloadable version, the digital version of this workbook, which is what I have. She will be coming out with a new print version of the workbook a little bit later this year, I believe in October. So if you wanted the actual workbook itself and not just the digital version that you print out yourself, she will be offering it a little bit later. So like I mentioned, I'll link that down below in the description. But hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. But other than that, I will be back next week to go through my budget check-in in my actual budget planner. I did buy a new Erin Condren monthly planner to use as my budget planner. The binder was not working for me. As much as I loved removing the pages and writing on them, I cannot get over the fact that I cannot turn the pages in the binder without just a massive struggle. So I invested in a monthly planner from Erin Condren. I think it just works a lot better despite having the coil in the way sometimes when I'm writing. It just works a lot better. So what I will probably do is do a little bit of setup in that planner, and I will show you that on my channel as well. So hopefully you tune in the next couple weeks, see the rest of this process, see my budget planner, and kind of get a good sense of what we're doing now that we have a very, very specific goal. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you found this helpful, and I will talk to you later. Bye.